Love was a concept. I was aware. We talked about doing a show. In fact, originally we were going to do a crazy yellow submarine experience at the Roundhouse, and then the Beatles signed a deal with Cirque du Soleil, and I just had some success at the time. I stupidly said to Neil Aspinall at Apple, I reckon I can create a show by just chopping up the tapes. And it was when a lot of mashups were going on at that period of time. It was around about 2003, 2004. And I was like, I can create this show that never happened. I had this idea of taking Ringo's drums from the beginning from the end, the drum solo, and combine it with Get Back, and that being an opening to the show. And he goes, okay, you got 3 months, and I'm not paying you. And so I came here to Abbey Road, and it was really the first time I'd really used Pro Tools, because I was doing much more writing then. I was doing much more writing and programming, and wasn't really doing much mixing and editing. And what people don't really realise is that I learnt Pro Tools so I could do the Love show, which is actually quite a good approach. It was a very privileged approach. Love was a project where I constantly thought I was going to get fired. That was my modus. This is such a ridiculously stupid idea that anyone would let George Martin's son come into Abbey Road, touch the untouched tapes of the Beatles and chop them up to create a show in Vegas is pretty deplorable. And I just presumed this was not going to happen. So I realised that if I was going to leave one legacy, I should really back up the tapes. And we started backing up the tapes. And we used Pro Tools to back up the tapes because before then, the only backup of Beatles tapes was on a Mitsubishi digital tape machines, which actually sounded terrible. So we started that process, and with a man called Alan Rouse, who sadly passed away here at Abbey Road, we started backing up the Beatles catalogue, and we found, using Pro Tools and a tape machine, old and new, we would be able to take 4-track copies and sync them up. Manually, you do it with a tape machine and a vari-speed knob and sync them up. So we could mix from much deeper multi-track mixes than the Beatles could. And that's what created Love, that and me adding other stuff on. But people would come and see my Pro Tools sessions for Love and be absolutely disgusted at my screen, my behaviour, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew what sounded right. But I suppose people, people who work for me now still look at me with complete disgust when I touch the keyboard. When I first started working on Love, when I started doing the demos, they wouldn't give me the multi-track tapes. They gave me the Mitsubishi digital tape transfers they had. And it wasn't until I got the original 4 tracks I realised how good they sounded. And I actually remember being upstairs in the building, and I was in a tiny room and getting Here Comes the Sun, which is an 8-track, and seeing the box and thinking, oh my, this is the original version of this song, and playing it and thinking, this is just extraordinary. After about a week, it's that sort of, familiarity breeds contempt. You forget. You have to forget, to be honest. I think from the Beatles' point of view, from my father's point of view, if I spent my whole time going, I can't believe I'm doing this, I wouldn't be able to do my job. I'm, incredibly sort of appreciative and a fan and still stunned. Work on a project, Beatles, and the drum sounds and just the sounds they got then are, just extraordinary. But you can't go, it can't be touched, because that's not my job. Is to paint a moustache in the Mona Lisa, as it were. The Love show is a different beast to me mixing, or us mixing the number ones. It's one of those privileges that I suppose really only I've had in that way, where I've been able to be involved in the creation of the mix as well as controlling how people listen to it. So we built a room in Vegas which has 7,000 speakers in it. We designed a seat which has, imagine a rectangle block that has 2 transducers coming this way and 1 transducer coming this way, and each seat has that block in it, but then you also have rear arrays, top, middle, bottom, everything. I mean, you're surrounded by speakers. And then mixing the music, which is what I did, in the theatre. So that performance that mix is, and it's like I suppose an audio dream. And the other great thing about Love, it's like a calling card for most people. Most people don't know. People go, audio people, like, they answer my call because they've been to the Love show. It's like, yeah, we love the Love show, and it's fun. It's a different discipline. I'm building a soundscape, and I'm adding, actually in the theatre, I'm adding audio to fill the space. And that's kind of fun, because I can do whatever I want in that room, and it stays there. It's locked in. When you're making a record, or I'm mixing number ones or whatever, it's going to be played on a headphone, laptop, big stereo. It's going to be analysed by people for a start, and so it's a different thing. I can't control how people listen to it. I mean, it'd be an exhausting process if I could.